Well, let's get some analysis on this now with Kabir Adamu, who's the Managing Director of Beacon Consulting, a security risk management and intelligence consulting company for the African Sahel countries. He joins us now from Abuja in Nigeria. Thank you so much for joining us. Firstly, can I ask you about this proposed intervention by ECOWAS? We have been covering the fact that military chiefs from the bloc are set to sit down and meet in Ghana. What are the pros and cons of such an intervention?
Okay, the first time such an intervention was mooted was on 30th of July when the ECOWAS heads of states had an emergency meeting in Abuja. They reeled out a number of sanctions on Niger, and as part of that sanction, they indicated that military intervention would be an option. They also indicated then that the defense chiefs of the member states would meet and agree the modalities for such an intervention. Now, the defense chiefs met on the 2nd to the 4th of August in Abuja, where they discussed the modalities, agreed the contributions, how much it would cost, and all of that. Understandably, it's a confidential issue, so not much was disclosed. After the meeting, President Ouattara of Ivory Coast did issue a statement when he was interviewed by the media, and at that point, he noted that it was a unanimous decision by ECOWAS member states. Then, of course, this meeting in Accra, which is holding today. So clearly, three things have emerged. Number one is that ECOWAS Commission, as a single entity, is quite resolute on this military intervention. Then the ECOWAS heads of states, at least 11 of them, are also resolute in this regard. However, like you indicated in your earlier remarks, there are about 3 or 4 countries, if you include Niger, that are currently being ruled by military juntas who are not supportive of such a military intervention. We can also extend it to the parliament in the member states. There was a meeting by ECOWAS Parliament last week where there was a division between members of the parliament on whether such a military intervention should take place or not.
Yes, we know that neighbouring Mali also was taken over by a military coup. ECOWAS responded strongly in that regard by imposing sanctions. It then lifted sanctions on Mali after the military rulers outlined a transition to elections in the country. Is that an option for Niger? Do you think if the military rulers there promise a roadmap towards elections, can an intervention be avoided?
Well, there are a couple of determinants to that. Number one is, I would say, the personal interest of the leadership of the ECOWAS member states. There is a discussion of what has been termed domino effect. In other words, out of the 15 member states, 4 are currently experiencing military adventurism. And so the other 11 are really, in reality, are afraid that could happen in their countries. So there's that personal interest to protect their positions. And then the other one is also ECOWAS, as it were. It's part of the Global Committee of Nations. And democracy is the accepted way of government. And so if ECOWAS does not stand tall and oppose any military adventurism, the world would see ECOWAS as a weak regional organization. The third one is the peculiar circumstances in Niger. Niger has, in the last few years, emerged as a favored destination, as it were, of several international players, including the US, France, and the others. And frankly, it's probably the last point of this resolve by Western nations to have some strength, foothold, as it were, in the Sahel and the West African sub-region. So there is a lot of discussion at the moment suggesting that ECOWAS actions are actually guided by the interest of these foreign countries. So part of what some naysayers are saying, well, towards ECOWAS is if they were malleable, as it were, in Mali and Guinea, as well as Burkina Faso, why are they taking a different stand in Niger Republic? So these are the determinants that would, I think, in the next few days, suggest what action ECOWAS would take towards Niger. But in my view, all of these interests that I've indicated, out of them all, the one that is more important is really the domino issue that I talked about. Most of the ECOWAS member states are a little bit afraid that if they allow Niger to hold, then there may be coup in their own countries.
Okay. Kabir Adamu, we will have to leave it there. Of course, we'll see what the military chiefs decide over the next couple of days. Thank you so much for joining us on TRT World.
Thank you.